In recent years, Garden Court North has been one of the most prominent chambers in the country dealing with protest cases and cases with a political context. Members of chambers have represented protesters arrested at the Tory party conference in Manchester, Palestinian, environmental, anti-fracking and climate change campaigners. And this follows a rich tradition of Garden Court, both in London and Garden Court North, which stretches back for more than 50 years. Ian MacDonald QC, who was head of chambers at Garden Court in London and a founder of Garden Court North, was the leading advocate in the landmark Mangrove 9 case 53 years ago, which has recently been the subject of a small axe drama directed by Steve McQueen. The case arose out of the Met Police targeting a Caribbean cafe in Notting Hill and charging a group of black men and women on spurious charges of inciting a riot. Following acquittals by the jury, the judge made what is believed to be the first judicial acknowledgement that a UK prosecution had been motivated by racial hatred. Ian went on to represent many defendants in political cases throughout his long career, from the Angry Brigade to the Bradford 12 to the so-called Burnley riots, and appeared in the Macpherson inquiry, which found that the Met was institutionally racist. Ian also undertook a seminal inquiry into a racist murder at a Manchester school, which looked at the wider picture of racism and disadvantage in inner city communities in the late 1980s. Mark George KC, our second head of chambers, cut his teeth on anti-fascist protest cases in London in the 1970s, and later in his career was a prominent campaigner with the Orgreave campaign, which followed the failed prosecution of minors on trumped-up charges of riot during the 1984-5 dispute. Along the way, he represented a myriad of animal rights and environmental protesters and those arrested in strikes and other industrial disputes. And similarly, I followed the same path, representing anti-racism campaigners, defendants in a number of community self-defense cases where mainly young black people have been arrested as a result of resistance to racists coming into and attacking their communities. I've represented animal rights and hunt saboteur activists, anti-capitalist and anti-austerity and disabled rights campaigners, and many, many others. I've also been an international human rights trial observer at demonstration cases in Turkey, Kuwait and Bahrain, amongst other places. And through my involvement in public law more generally, the Hillsborough, Manchester Arena and other cases, I've also been an advocate for legal reform and important changes to the way the law should serve the public, in particular through the campaign to enact duty of candour laws, which would greatly reduce the ability of public authorities and corporations to cover up wrongdoing. The ethos of Garden Court North is to protect the rights of the individual against state excesses. We're very proud of our long record of specialising in representing those arrested whilst defending their communities, standing up for international human rights, fighting for social justice, and exercising their constitutional rights to freedom of expression and assembly. It's a specialist area of both criminal and public law, and an arena where both common law constitutional rights and human rights are of the utmost importance. It's work that involves trials in the magistrates and Crown Court, High Court challenges, appeals to the Court of Appeal, and applications to Strasbourg, and sometimes civil concepts such as injunctions and different types of hybrid orders. I joined Garden Court because I was always interested in social change and a belief that the rule of law is organic, and I did not therefore want to join a set which just took the next case. Legal reform, the protection of the disadvantaged, the protection of vital human and civil rights was the reason I came to the bar and to Garden Court. If these are matters of importance to you, talk to us about joining our team.